you ever thought about starting a video podcast? The world of podcasting is growing every day, and adding a visual element to your podcast is like painting a full color masterpiece. Suddenly everything pops. Today I'm going to share step by step on how you can start your own video podcast. My brand Gravity Show has now recorded over 50 episodes and it has been downloaded over 10,000 times. Clearly, I'm not like the best of the best yet, but I wanted to record this guide before I got so far along that I didn't remember what it was like to be a beginner. Just think of the possibilities when your audience doesn't just hear you, but also sees you. You can share visuals. You can express your thoughts using body language. You can take your audience along on your journey, just like Frodo did in Lord of the Rings, hopefully with fewer orcs. And there's a flavor for every taste. You can do interviews, you could have discussion panels, even educational demonstrations. Think like Bill Nye the Science Guy, but in whatever your niche is and in your style. First thing that you need to do is to plan your podcast, because having a great idea is a bit like capturing lightning in a bottle. It's really exciting, but kind of tricky. So you need to know what your niche is. Decide what your topics are going to be, what your category is going to be. And then who is your ideal listener? What do they care about? What are they interested in? What are their pain points and desires? Take the time to plan your episode structure and your topics. So for instance, let's say you're going to do a podcast on vintage comic books. Your episodes could be based on different eras of comic book styles, maybe on specific superheroes, or you could decide to do interviews or to do them solo. Key is to map out the topics, any guest appearances or special segments that you want your episode to have in it. And a content calendar will keep you on track and help avoid that last minute scramble if you just aren't sure what to do next. Just remember that planning is a dynamic process. So as you gain feedback from your listeners, as you improve as a podcaster, and as you see which episodes are most popular, you'll be able to adjust and refine your content calendar and your strategy accordingly. Remember, in the words of Dwight Schrute from The Office, proper preparation prevents poor performance. If you have the funds to invest in this project and you want guidance in making all of these details happen, there are podcast producers whose entire business is managing all of the different moving pieces of podcasts, including video podcasts. I used an amazing human, her name is Simona Costantini, to plan, launch, and manage my show. She is absolutely amazing, and if you have the budget for it, it pays for itself. Next, we need to think about our equipment. Let's talk about gear. You don't have to break the bank here, folks. A decent camera, a good microphone, and some basic lighting can do wonders. It doesn't have to be fancy, it just has to work. For beginners, upgrading your built-in webcam to like a Logitech webcam, or perhaps using your iPhone and then having a good quality microphone connected to either of those places is a really good starting point. On my computer, I love using this USB connected Audio-Technica microphone. And then my light is a pair of cheap soft boxes that I purchased off of Amazon. I think it was like $60 at the time. And all of this is perfect. It does not have to be fancy. When you are ready to upgrade, you can look at something like a 4K full frame camera. I'm using a Lumix G5. You just need to have a HDMI converter that will plug into your USB, and then also the HDMI cord that goes to your camera. I'll include the link to my full kit, full setup down in the description below. So if you just don't want to have to think about it, you can go there and buy what you need. Next step is to set up your recording space. Just like every superhero needs a cool base of operations, you need to decide where you're actually going to record this. You want to be mindful of background noise. You want it to be really quiet. You also need the good lighting, so soft boxes can help with that. And then pay attention to what your overall frame and background is going to be. Bookshelves are great because you can fill it with your favorite books, but even if you're not doing that, you could have like a cool poster or art in the background to help communicate your brand strategy. If you don't have space in your home for this, you could consider renting out a podcasting or video studio, or even an Airbnb, and then batch record a whole bunch of your episodes all at once. If you're gonna go this route, a quick Google search of your local area will likely lead you to some options that are built for this. At this point, it's time to actually record your first episodes. Super exciting. If you're going to do interviews, I love using the software Riverside.fm. It records high quality audio and video. It gives you separate tracks for both you and your guest, which can be crucial for editing, and it also upgrades the quality. You could also just record on Zoom. However, the quality just isn't quite as good. Sometimes you get echo issues. You can see the side-by-side video here of a recording done on Zoom versus on Riverside. When you're actually recording, you want to be mindful of your on-camera presence. It might take some practice, and that's okay. Maintain good posture, make eye contact with your lens. Imagine that you're looking at somebody there, and let your personality shine through. If you haven't done a lot of video yet, it might be helpful advice to actually kind of turn up the volume on your personality. Be a little bit more emotive. Vary the cadence and the tone of your voice a little bit more. It helps keep people engaged and interested in listening to long form content. For solo episodes, I love using software called Ecamm Live. It's actually what I'm using right now to record this YouTube video. And it's just me, no guests or anything. So I'm talking to my camera and I'm recording the file using Ecamm Live. It's a really beautiful tool. You could also use whatever is built into your system. So things like iMovie work fantastic. For editing, I love Descript. They've made video editing as easy as editing a Word document. They have AI where you can remove long pauses, you can delete filler language, and you can cut out different pieces, add intros, outros, a whole lot more. Next, we need to get your podcast out into the world. So once your podcast episodes are ready, it's time to figure out where you're actually going to host and distribute them. YouTube recently launched podcast-specific features, and rumor has it they're going to continue to prioritize video podcast content on the platform since it's new for them. You can also use more traditional podcast platforms, ones like Libsyn, Buzzsprout, Anchor, Podbean. These platforms are specific to podcasting. They've been around for a long time, and it's super easy to manage your episodes, and then they distribute to all of the major podcasting directories like iTunes and Spotify. Optimizing your titles and descriptions can be as important as finding the perfect pair of jeans that fit just right. Don't forget to add relevant keywords. Be descriptive so people that are searching for content that you're creating can actually find it. And here's a pro tip. When you first launch your podcast, release the first 3 to 5 episodes all at once so you encourage binge watching and you really hook those first listeners. And make sure that you're creating in advance, especially if you have guests and interviews as a primary structure of your episodes. There's invariably going to be guests that need to reschedule. I've gotten sick and have had to reschedule. There's been people that have straight up had to cancel, business travel, whatever it is. You do want to have a buffer and to be recording in advance so that you're not ever scrambling to stick to your publishing schedule. You're also going to need a few podcast assets created before you go live. You're going to want that square cover image that's like the cover to your book that shows your show title, maybe an image of you. And then you're gonna wanna have an overarching show description that explains to people what's going to be on your show so they can decide if they wanna listen or not. Just like how when a tree falls in a forest with nobody around, a podcast with no listeners is a major lost opportunity. Frankly, it would be a ton of work without getting any return. So make sure that you are planning to proactively promote your show, not just produce it. Leverage your social media accounts. If you have guests that you're bringing onto the show, make sure that they're also promoting the show to their audiences, and then make a conscious effort to build an email list so that you can be telling people whenever you release a new episode. Remind your listeners to engage, where to find you on social media so they can continue the conversation and you can show them that you care, that they're listening. Long form content like video podcasts are an absolute treasure trove for repurposing. You can use them to create YouTube shorts, reels, TikToks. You can get the full text transcription converted into blog posts, captions for different social media platforms, carousels. The possibilities are endless. When you're getting started, I recommend designing a template or two that you'll use consistently on social media. This speeds up the distribution and promotion process. We personally share short vertical video of key moments during our episodes. And then we also extract quotes from the best content that our guests share. For each episode, remember that you'll want to have a click-worthy, attention-grabbing title, and then also a short description so people can find that content if they're looking for it. You may also decide that you want to create a show notes page on your website. That just gives you the opportunity to deepen the relationship with your viewers and to share more resources, links, content. So in conclusion, starting a video podcast is a ton of fun, I can tell you from this side of the table, but it is a lot of moving pieces. So you want to tackle it step by step by step. It is worth the effort. The view at the top of the hill is absolutely incredible. It leads to amazing relationships. It helps you nurture your audience if you already have one in a brand new high value way. And it's a fantastic opportunity for you to show up as a leader in your brand. If you want to see all of these tips in action, I invite you to go check out the Brand Gravity Show. It is here on YouTube, so you can find the playlist with all of our episodes, see what I'm doing exactly and how I'm putting all of this into practice. And if you have started your video podcast, I would love if you share the name of your video podcast in the comments below. I would love to see what you're up to. I don't think that YouTube allows links, so just share the name and I'm going to check out what you're doing. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, see more valuable content like this, give it a thumbs up. Super helpful. Thank you in advance, and I'll see you in the next video.